week featuring Chris Draft. This is part 2 of a 2-part series. And Courtland, the first part was so inspirational. Chris is an amazing guy doing amazing work.
He really is. In part 1, we talked about some health tips about lung cancer, and we started to get into it a little bit with Chris about his foundation and lung cancer and awareness. But in this second part, it's going to be really, really interesting. I think we get into the meat of the topic here in the second part.
Okay, so let's put a bow around this episode. Sit back and enjoy Chris Draft.
I never had so much love on my side until I met you. And you changed my mind when you showed me that there is a light.
Yeah, it's these small wins I think you look forward to, right? And getting past the next one and then looking to the next one. And it's, as we talked earlier, it's being honest and realistic with ourselves and setting those goals and milestones to get through and stay positive along the journey.
Yeah.
So she's your girlfriend at the time. She's diagnosed. And then take me through a little bit. So as time goes on, you said, well, look, this is working and, you know, we're going to commit to each other. You get engaged and then you decide to get married. When is that? Tell me a little bit about that.
So, you know, I was just finishing up, so, you know, there was a process, you know, where we were finally really together. You know, the first year we had met in Charlotte. Really, I was in Charlotte for the season. The next year I'm going to St. Louis. So, it wasn't that, you know, that I was just got down and she was just diagnosed. I was finally back.
Yeah.
It was finally where we could really have a discussion about where we want to go. And unfortunately, it coincided with her having cancer. So that was kind of where we were at. And so we stuck with that. Stuck with that, and you know, not just running out and saying, you know, we're just going to get married right now. We still allowed the process to go, and you know, I wasn't going anywhere. It was going to be right there. I mean, that part didn't. You know, we didn't have to worry about that, but it was just allowing it to go. And so, you know, I was able to ask her to marry me, and you know, and she said yes, which you still have to say yes. Yeah, we were able to get married. So it, you know, again, allowed us to still grow within that year. You know, and so much of, you know, as we go through the work in terms of lung cancer. They show numbers and they talk about that somebody only lived this long, they only did this, but we want to focus on how much life they had. And so within that year, Keisha kept living. She kept, you know, every year, or, every day kept finding the joy in each day. And again, then we were able to get engaged, and then we were able to be married. And so when we got married, that's when we launched our team draft initiative. But really, the team draft part started about a couple weeks before that, when my wife came to me and said, "What if we don't get presents? What if we ask everybody to just support the foundation? You know, to support the Chris Draft Family Foundation, and really, from there we can figure out how that we're going to attack cancer."
Yeah.
So, part of that was a gift to me. As I tell folks, is that Keisha was very personal. She, very private, and so she didn't want me sharing with too many people that she had cancer. I mean, so she, told some of her close friends. But if I was out, say, if I had met you on the street and you were sharing about what you were doing, she didn't want me sharing, so I couldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Because I have to respect it.
Yeah.
So at our wedding, it was, she was ready. She was ready to share. We had her family, friends, and everything, and at that point, it was like, I'm ready to share, and it's time to kind of let you go a little bit, let you fight out there and not just in here.
Yeah. So what changes did you see? I'm very curious, because she held it in, you respected that privacy, and then it's the wedding, and she decides that she's going to make an announcement, and she sets the foundation for the foundation by saying to the guests, no presents, please.
Yeah.
We're going to do this thing, and we're going to build something that's going to last longer than myself and my husband and anyone in this room.
Yeah.
It's going to be a foundation that's going to address the issues of cancer, hopefully find a cure, and it's going to continue to thrive long after everyone here is gone. How does that
Well, I think
dynamic play?
I think that's the hope that would happen. But everybody comes around at their own time. You can't. Some people right after diagnosis, man, they're typing away and they're sharing and they're letting everybody know. Other people are, again, they're very private. Only a few people might know. So I think it was just time. It was just time. It coincided with us getting married, so the family and friends were there. They would see her. They would see what she was going through. I mean, unless you go to a cancer center, which nobody wants to,
Yeah.
you don't know. You don't really know what's going on. So it becomes more real. And so I think in our family and friends being there, it was time. It was time that she felt comfortable with. This is what it is, and it's time to take a stand, where we're fighting back, not just that we're here fighting, but now we're going to fight back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's so great that you guys had that time to be with each other and to love each other and share that love with everyone who is touched by the Chris Draft Family Foundation. And I know that at your foundation you focus on more than just cancer. Can you give us a little overview of the foundation and what your vision and mission are?
Well, the foundation initially was founded with a mission of empowering families to live healthy lifestyle. And for some people, it's a little hard to see how the initiatives might go all together. But if you understand that it was inspired by two people with cancer, then you'll understand how important some of those issues are. It was inspired by two people with cancer. One was a high school coach of mine, ended up having melanoma. Was diagnosed my freshman year at Stanford, and then a special ed teacher that I taught with in high school was diagnosed with lung cancer. So she was in the best shape of her life, a routine physical, and ended up with a chest X-ray being diagnosed with lung cancer.
Yeah.
So she passed away about a year and a half later. My high school coach passed away only a couple of years ago. So you can see the difference between cancers. But when we looked at both of them, again, as inspiration, it said they were ready for a fight.
Yeah.
They were ready. And that doesn't mean you're going to win. I mean, it doesn't mean that you're going to win the fight, that ultimate fight, but you can win battles. And they were prepared. And so when we looked at how were they prepared, well, number one, they were in amazing shape. Both of them were in tremendous shape. So they understood their body, they knew their body. So, if we're going to talk about health, so when they talk about prevention for lung cancer, smoking will be part of it, but we're going to talk about a healthy lifestyle overall. So exercise, eating right. So you talked about fruits and vegetables. I mean, all these things that go into it. So a healthy lifestyle. But then they had a great relationship with their primary care docs. They had a spouse that was supportive. So my high school coach, his wife actually found melanoma by seeing something on his back that he might not have noticed. Helped him out.
Yeah.
How important is the people that are around you? The special ed teacher, her husband and the work that he did made it where they were financially, in a great position. So that's support. So when you look at those things, so that's our kind of Get Checked and Get Fit initiative. You look at our Literacy Leaders initiative. What is that? Education. Health disparities go right along with education. So if you can't get at, like if you don't have depend on your health insurance, that could determine your care. It determines your access to primary care physicians. Those things are huge. Those are huge in really determining how much you're going to be able to fight, along with the more money you have, I mean, again, just the resources you have around to be able to work through things. Our character initiative, really kind of the backbone. We talk about being honest, but then honesty is kind of that beginning part of where we want you in terms of a strong character, the ability to look at yourself, to be able to diagnose yourself, to be able to make changes, really comes from your character, to be able to maintain them. So our community improvement, we know that access to care is huge. So depending on what's in your community can completely determine where you have a chance to go. And so again, so those pillars were there, but without somebody completely understanding it from a cancer perspective, you don't notice it as much. So when you look at the foundation, a lot of things where Keisha really lines up with those in terms of things that she did well, from character to education, electrical engineer, took care of herself. All these things that are prevented, that allow you to get ready to fight. And so where does Team Draft, where does that line up within it, is that you can do everything. You can align yourself with the right people. You can have a tremendous family, a tremendous community, a tremendous group around you, but then sometimes bad things happen.
Yeah.
And when it does, we need early detection.
Yeah.
We need great treatment, and we need research.
Right.
And that's where Team Draft starts.
Well, you know, in life, you're dealt a hand of cards. And when you look at those cards, how you play that hand depends on you, right? You can't say, well, I don't like the cards. Let's reshuffle and give me a new hand of cards in life. But it's how you look at that hand, and you know, you may not have the best hand of cards, but how you play it and how you get through those adversities and those hurdles in life really, you know, mean a lot. So you have these pillars within the foundation, and you know, one of the goals is to change the face of lung cancer, right? A goal of the pillars that you've put in place. And so what are some of the accomplishments that you can point to in ways that you have changed the face of lung cancer?
Yeah, that's a. So when we say changing the face, it's not, you know, where somebody might think of it, that we're just changing what somebody is saying, but the idea of changing the face of lung cancer is actually allowing people to see the landscape that's changing around lung cancer. So definitely initially it's important for us to make sure there are people that are visible. So within this space, there's a smoking stigma. We had to be honest about the smoking stigma, but really what was that? It was that lung cancer is only defined through prevention. And so if research was necessary, that a commercial that focuses on prevention would not accomplish getting more research.
Yeah.
It's not going to do that. And so we could complain about that all we wanted, but that's not going to translate into more research, because those are two different things. Prevention is personal responsibility, where cancer is a compassion campaign that's driven by people realizing that cancer potentially can happen to them.
Yeah.
So what was missing within lung cancer was really a campaign that said this could be you. You know, everything about it was this, you know, unless you're smoking, it won't be you. Well, I get to find out that it could happen to anyone.
Right.
And then even if there are people that have smoked it, you know, that doesn't mean that we should throw them away. Because it's not like they just, which was proven through a federal indictment, it wasn't like that they just wanted to. You know, they were encouraged, they were, you know, helped to be more addicted and marketed for that to happen. So there's that group, and then there's, you know, a large group that are, you know, so there's current smokers, there's former smokers, and never smokers. So how do we tell this story? How do we tell the story of lung cancer? We had to say, well, it's only prevention, accept that, and then say, well, how do we, changing the face of lung cancer is to say that we're going to tell the whole story initially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, how do we talk to somebody about the importance of early detection and treatment and research? Well, it has to be about people. Otherwise, they won't care.
Right.
So we need to show people that look like someone just walking down the street. Show somebody that looks like just your everyday New Yorkers, looks like you, somebody from Philadelphia, somebody from your neighborhood. Because again, that's not what people have seen.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've been able to do a lot of that.
Yeah.
We've been able to show quite a bit of people all over the country and make, you know, bring new stories to life around people, and then highlight the work that's going on at their cancer center so that people understand that, that research does matter and research is changing. So it's not just enough to say that lung cancer kills more than anybody, that it kills more than breast, prostate, colon and pancreatic combined. I mean, it's terrible. I mean, 160,000 will pass from lung cancer, but what can I do about it?
Right.
What can I do about it besides this prevention side? So that's where research matters.
Yeah.
And so we've challenged cancer centers across the country to stand up. So we're going to help you. We have a platform from playing with the NFL. We're going to help you. But are you ready to tell people that you're doing something? Are you ready to say that research matters?
Yeah.
And so, been over 130 cancer centers, and that's been the theme that says, if you're willing to, we want to help you. We want to make sure you're more visible through our relationship with NFL, NBA, NHL, NCAA, Major League Baseball. We want to help you. But for us to really be able to help you, we need your success stories. We need your survivors. We need them so that we can make a case that not only does research matter, but why does it matter to you?
Right. Right. You got to personalize it.
Personally.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, you're doing amazing things, and of course you're going to get awards because of those amazing things. A couple of years ago, you received the Be Greater Atlanta Award.
Mm.
What did this mean to you?
Well, that's it's an award for our people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not me, but it's all the people that we've worked with. That's what they're recognizing, and our ability to convince survivors to stand up, and their strength and willingness to do that. I mean, we can't do anything without our relationships with our docs, with our survivors. I mean, those ideas mean nothing without people that have the courage to stand up and do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the award was great. It was a recognition that we're, moving in the right direction. And then, at the same time that Keisha's commitment at our wedding was still moving.
You talk about relationships, and there's strength in numbers, right? So you get the NFL, you get the NBA, you get the National Hockey League, and these big organizations that come together. And people then begin to realize through the efforts of these athletes and personalities that it can happen to anyone. And whether you're rich or poor, an athlete or a non-athlete, or black or white or Asian, it doesn't matter. Again, it gets back to that hand that you're dealt in
Mm-hmm.
life. How have these organizations, I mean, obviously you played in the NFL, so you have a relationship there.
Yeah.
How have these other organizations embraced what you're doing and are stepping up to the plate to help?
They've been very supportive. They've been very supportive. But the key is that we're not challenging them to just support lung cancer. We're challenging them to get to know people that happen to have lung cancer. And that's the biggest difference that we have done versus some of the other organizations. Is we're not challenging somebody to like lung cancer. Nobody's gonna like it. Man, we hate it. We hate cancer.
Right.
But we do want you to like our people,
Mm-hmm.
to like people that are from your neighborhood, that are from your city, because teams are very local. We're not gonna have them like somebody that's from another city. That's just difficult. We want them to help us in raising up what's great about your city, raise up someone that is amazing in your city, and they've responded greatly.
Yeah.
So, but again, the key was first making sure that our cancer centers were ready to talk about it, though, and that our survivors were ready, because it's not about the players.
Right.
It's not about a team. I mean, it's not about that. This is about something that's absolutely serious. Biggest cancer killer out there. And so it's not about, a ball game. It is about taking care of people and creating more survivors.
Yeah.
So you have many talents, and we know that you're also very into reading and writing. And many years ago, you wrote a book titled "Do You Want to Play Catch?"
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about this book?
And so I wrote a book, "Do You Want to Play Catch?" And really the theme of it is, is family. So it backs up. So everything that we do will be about building a team, and that team will be really about your family or some type of family, some type of extended family that's around you that you can depend on. Someone that really knows you, people that care about you, know everything about you. And so that was the theme of the book, is that in playing catch with my family, I got to know about them and they got to know about me, and really challenging our families to get to know each other. That playing a game is not just about being physically fit in terms of just running around, but you have a chance to be mentally and emotionally and family strong by being out there together.
Yeah, I think that's a really important message. A couple weeks ago, we had a woman on our show living with congenital heart defect, and now she needs a heart transplant. And she was saying, surround yourself by amazing people, because you're going to need to draw on each other. And so I think it goes back to your message of creating that family.
The same thing. Again, we're empowering them. You never know your family. They're going to you have them. So if we can elevate them so that they can really be assets, they can be resources to you. Because just because they're a family doesn't mean that. But if they can be, oh my goodness, can be tremendous.
So Chris, besides putting pencil to paper and writing to get your story out and develop a story about family, is writing a therapeutic outlet for you?
It is, but it always has a theme. The themes will always come back to, really the mission of the foundation will be somehow, how are we helping people? So any type of outlet of kind of writing something up will always have that, of where it comes back to that. So it's not as much, so like writing the book wasn't because I wanted to be the writer as much as that I had a message of family that I wanted to convey, and felt like that was another way of getting it done.
So you've certainly dedicated your life to helping so many other people. What really motivates you to keep going, to keep fighting, to keep wanting to change the face of lung cancer?
Yeah, that's definitely a good question. I think when you look at the overall mission, say for me as an individual, has always been that if I had a chance to be able to play in the NFL, that I wouldn't waste it. And not wasting it would be that I wouldn't just be a football player. I would be more than that, be a man as I'm playing it. And then with this platform, I wouldn't just waste that platform. And so what I've really saw as I was going through the league is that there were some amazing men that I played with that had tremendous stories, had things that they would want to do. They just weren't supported in getting that done. And so there was a space in between them and an organization that if they were put together, so many people would benefit from that interaction. And so that's kind of where I'm excited about the work that we're able to do, is that we are bringing together cancer centers, we're bringing together survivors, we're challenging the way things were done. I had a chance to be in a commercial with American Cancer Society in December that was played all over the country and in Canada. And it was the first time that the American Cancer Society had talked about lung cancer outside of smoking. First time. And so to see those things and really see that change that's happening, and allowing folks to stand up and really share their stories and make an impact, I mean, that's, we have a lot more to go. There's absolutely a lot more to go, but being able to use this platform so that we can make change is tremendous.
I think, Chris, we've only scratched the surface. And as I look and talk to my friends in medicine, things like immunotherapy and personalized medicine and tumor sequencing and tumor typing. I mean, there's so many new innovations that we're starting to see, the quantum leaps in medical innovation that are happening today and will happen in our lifetime are truly amazing. What And you talked about it earlier, but so what's next for the foundation? Where do you see, if you look out, we're sitting here 10 years from now, we're a little older, a little
Yeah.
grayer. Where are we at?
Again, that's a great question. I absolutely been able to see over the last 5 years a huge change in what's happening within lung cancer. But it's natural. And that natural change is that lung cancer is different from other cancers, and until the Human Genome Project happened, which allows our doctors to look at the disease on a lot lower level to be able to understand it. Until that happened, we really couldn't treat lung cancer.
Yeah.
So we needed the science to catch up. We needed more science before we could actually start to solve some of the problems. So I think those things are, those are tremendous. So we see things that are happening with that. So what do you say from us as an organization? Our main program is our Super Bowl Challenge. Our Super Bowl Challenge is committed to really raising up survivors from cancer centers all over the country, just raising up survivors and allowing them to raise money for their particular cancer center or lung cancer organization or just cancer organization, but through a platform where whoever raises the most goes to Super Bowl. Whoever's second goes to Pro Bowl. Whoever's third goes to Taste NFL. Fourth, hopefully this year we want to add the national championship. And it's rewarding them so they can go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But it's really about rewarding them and acknowledging that they've earned the right to be the national spokesman for lung cancer. And so now we're going to take you to the Super Bowl, which is not just a game. It's a bunch of influential people that if you're willing to share and you're willing to talk with them, that now as they're sharing with their people, we can change the face of lung cancer. That you're right in front of them and you're sharing your story. And again, you're not just sharing it with just somebody down the street, but you're sharing it with Eli Manning. And we know what that means. You're sharing it with Peyton Manning. Those are the type of folks.
Yeah.
And because of it, now our message can be out that much more.
Yeah.
So where can our members and our audience go to find more information about your foundation and possibly donate?
Absolutely. So they can go to teamdraft.org and learn more about our specific work as it relates to lung cancer, or go to the Chris Draft Family Foundation.org.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, you're amazing. What you've done on the field is amazing. What you're doing now, what you did on the field pales in comparison, in my mind, to the work that you're doing now. So I admire that very much. If you could leave our audience with one message and wrap it all up and put a bow around it, what would that message be?
It's a good question, a hard question. What would that message be? From the Chris Draft Family Foundation, would say that we want them to live healthy lifestyles. So that small changes will make big gains. So don't try to do too much. Don't try to change the world in one day. Be willing to take small steps to get there.
Yeah.
With lung cancer, we know that anyone can get it. Anyone can get lung cancer. I had to find out personally with my wife. Hopefully through our education we can make sure that someone doesn't have to get to know it when it personally happens to them. And then hopefully that we've pushed things ahead, so if it does, that they will be that much closer to being survivors.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for stopping in and spending time with us today. It means a lot.
Thank you.
Good work. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I'd like to thank our sponsors for making this all possible. Remember, all of our episodes can be viewed on demand at healthyo360.com, and our podcast can be found in the iTunes Store.
Well, we love social media, and we're all over Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest using the hashtag #RealStories when posting, and would greatly appreciate it if you would do the same. On behalf of Dave Duplay, myself, and the entire Healthyo360 family, we'd like to thank you again for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next week.